quick vid. Savage Worlds, just found it, just read it, and I just love it. I'm preparing to run a campaign in Savage Worlds. I want my first campaign to be a dark fantasy or a horror fantasy. I'm in the process of crafting the setting rules for my fantasy. I'm going to be incorporating, of course, fantasy rules, as well as some of the horror companion rules, and some of the things in the sci-fi companion rules. The things in the sci-fi companion rules I want to incorporate but haven't gotten there yet is I want to incorporate cybernetics. Now, I don't want cybernetics to be actual mechanical, gas-powered energy things. I want them to appear more like a clockwork or pseudo-steampunk, attachments. Like, you're missing an arm, you get a cybernetic attachment. That cybernetic attachment is a clockwork arm. Maybe your clockwork arm needs to be wound. Also, I really love the race creation rules. So I want to create a few tweaked races in my campaign setting. It's going to be a horror setting. So I want some of the more scarier things to remain scary. From the horror companion, I want to use the sanity rules. Sanity. Lose your mind. Because I think that's an amazing notion. And to utilize fear in your storytelling and in the mechanics, it just, tickles my spine. It's like, whoa, yes. I'm going to talk more about this. Hopefully get into the origins of how I came up with the setting. It's sort of a setting I've been going back to over and over and over throughout the years through playing Dungeons and Dragons. I started off as a player. The setting was in Forgotten Realms, but one of my best friends, oldest friends, and Dungeon Master always moved the timeline forward from our previous campaigns. So our setting constantly developed. Now, after he moved away and I started Dungeon Mastering, I kept that setting and did the same thing. Always incorporated all the player characters that survived into the history of the setting and moved the timeline forward. And I've come up with something so different than what was intended in the Forgotten Realms that it's honestly a completely different setting. And I want to represent that. And I want to represent the feel that I got when using this same setting, utilizing Mutants and Masterminds, 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that was it. 3 different rule sets in the setting so far. Oh, no, that's right, I recently did a one-shot using 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons rules in this setting. So, yeah. Peace. Domine Patre, Sigre, and all that jazz.